How's it going, everybody? This is Darrin with GuitarControl.com bringing you this video lesson, and today I've got 3 more fun and easy riffs for you from Led Zeppelin. So right now Guitar Control is giving away this really cool free chord chart. There's a link down in the description where you can get yours. You can download it, print it off, and it's in PDF format, so it just has every chord that you could ever need all neatly compiled into one sheet. So print it off, throw one in your gig bag, put one where you practice, so just any situation you can have any chord you might need at a glance, and it's free. So be sure to click on the link in the description for the tabs, and let's get close up and take a look at these. Alright, so the first one we're going to look at is the main riff from Kashmir. So for the whole song for this, it's in an open tuning. It's in Dad-Gad. But for the riff we're playing, we're not going to be playing the B or the high E string. So just to simplify this, you can just tune to drop D. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to tune our low E string down a whole step, so it's the same, pitch as your 4th string. Anyway, that just to play this riff. But if you ended up learning the whole song, you would have to adjust those the high E and the B string as well. All right, so this is pretty simple. There's just one part where there's a transition that if you're a beginner it might be kind of tough, but for the most of it it's pretty simple. So I've got my 4th finger here on the 5th fret of the A string, and then my 1st finger onto the 2nd fret of the G string. So now when we strum, we're going to play the A, D, and G string. So it's actually a D5, but we're playing the D note twice. We've got a D and another D, and then the A to make it a D5. So we do this, it's 2 16th notes and then an 8th note and then a rest. So it's like, so an easy way to do it is if you're like 1 2 3 4 1 2 3. It isn't really counted that way, but that's just a way to group it together. It's 3 rest 3, and then the second time, so you do it rest, then you do it again. But this time, instead of the rest, we're going to put in just the open low E string. So we're kind of droning this D note all the way through this. So we've got. Then we're going to take our 1st finger, we're just going to move it up 1 fret. So now it's on the 3rd fret, and our pinky is just going to stay here. And now we're going to do the same rhythm we just did. Then we're going to move up to the 4th fret. So you could just continue to slide your 1st finger up like this or use a different finger, whatever's more comfortable. Same thing. Now we're going to go so we're both on the 5th fret. So this is the transition that's kind of tricky. So what you're going to want to do is this. You're going to want to switch from having your pinky on the 5th fret of the A string to your 1st finger being there, and then your 2nd finger dropping to the 5th fret of the G string. Now the reason we want to do this is because we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to play this. We're going to do that same rhythm here. We're on the 5th fret open, and then 5th fret. Then the note on the G string is going to go to the 7th fret. So now you're going to be stretching this way, and that one's just da da da, and then it starts over again. It goes back to the 2nd fret. So the transition from getting from here to here or here and then back, that's going to be the toughest part if you're a beginner. So the next one we're going to look at is the riff from the Rain song. Now for this one, it's also in an open tuning. This one's a little more weird. This is the first time I've ever even used this open tuning. So we're going to tune our E string down to a D, then we're going to tune our A string down to a G, and our D string down to a C. Then we're going to leave our G string the same, and we're going to tune our B string up a half step here to C, and then our high E string down a whole step. All right, so this one pretty simple. We're going to start off here. We're up at the 7th fret, and my third finger is here on the 7th fret of the B string, and then I'm using my second finger to play the 7th fret of the D string, and then we're going to just strum starting. We're not going to play the low E string at all here. So again, this is another one like on the last one. Just to play this riff, you wouldn't even have to go into drop D with this string, but it's just, you know, for stuff later on in the song. So we just start off with that, and this is coming in on the and of 4, and then it's tied to the downbeat of 1 of the second measure. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and then starting on for beats 2, 3, and 4 as 8th notes. You're going to do a downstroke, and you want to try to catch the D, G, and B string, and then an upstroke catching the high E, B, and G string. So you got this like 2 and 3 and 4, and then on the and of 4, we're going to strum again, but we're going to move down 1 fret. So we stay on the same strings here, on the D and the B string, but we're going to move down to the 6th fret. And then it does the same thing, so the same rhythm. So here we got that. And 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and then on the and of 4 is where we're supposed to switch, so I messed up there. So let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. All right, so that's the first 3 measures. So then starting on the 4th measure, we're going to take this shape and we're going to move it down a half step again. So now we're at the 5th fret, but we're going to take our first finger and drop it here onto the 4th fret of the G string. And that's the reason why I wasn't doing this and doing this, because it just makes it easier to make the change. Okay, so we come to this chord here. This is a G7, and we're gonna 2 strums. So down, up is a good way to do it. Then we're gonna switch to our next shape. It actually looks like the triad shapes that if you've done any of the lessons I did with triads. But so here I'm on the 5th fret of the D string with my 3rd finger, the 4th fret of the G string with my 2nd finger, and the 3rd fret of the B string with my 1st finger. We hit that, and then we have to flatten the note on the B string to the 2nd fret. But you're only there for just a second. And then the open A string, and then just bar your 1st finger like you're doing an open G minor chord. Except you'll be picking up the D string as well. So on the 3rd fret of the D, G, and B string with the A string open. And that's basically the whole riff. All right, so the last one we're going to look at is the riff from Rock and Roll. This one's just in standard tuning, and it's kind of based on it's like a 12-bar blues shuffle, just a variation on something that you've probably already played before. And anyhow, I have all 12 measures on here, but it's just because it's the same riff, just played on different strings. So we start off here in A, so I'm going to put my 1st finger here on the 2nd fret of the D string, and the A string will be open. And we're going to play this, and then immediately, so this is like 8th notes. We rest on 1, and then on the and of 1, so it's and then the downbeat of 2, we go to the 3rd fret of the A string, but you just want to keep your 1st finger planted here on the 2nd fret. So, and 2, and 3, So we're going to keep our first finger here on the 2nd fret of the D string, but we're going to come up to the 5th fret, and we're going to play that note, and this is on the downbeat of 3. 3, and back to the 2nd fret. Downbeat of 4 is the 4th fret, and then the and of 4 is that same bend back to the open. So this is on the and of 4, but it's tied to the downbeat of 1. And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and then that's where it repeats. So that's one thing that you can kind of do to kind of help hold it all together, because there's 2 guitar parts on this. So like one's doing the, well, the other one's, well, that one's ringing out, and the other one is doing the. So when I'm just playing that by myself, what I'll do is I'll alternate in pedaling the open A string, just to kind of help me to keep that, keep where I am in the, in the rhythm of it all. Alright, so that's basically the riff. Now we do 2 bars of that, so 4 bars of that. And then we're going to go to, so that's like our 1 chord. And then we're going to go to our 4 chord, which is D. So what we're going to do is we're just going to move our first finger up 1 string. So now we're on the 2nd fret of the G string, and the D string is open. So we're going to do the same frets, the same rhythm, but instead of being played on the A and D string, it's playing on the D and the G string. So we have 2 measures of this. And then back for 2 measures of the 1 chord, so back to the A. Then we go to our 5 chord, which is E. So now we're going to do the opposite. We're going to move down. So now our first finger is going to come down 1 string. So now we're on the 2nd fret of the A string, and the low E string is open. Same rhythm. Back to the A. And then that's like basically the whole intro to the song. So there you have it, 3 more not too terribly difficult riffs to play from Led Zeppelin. So if you like this lesson, be sure to give me a thumbs up and leave a comment down below if you have any questions about this or other guitar-related topics. If you've not already done so, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the content that we upload throughout the week. Well, that is all I have for you today. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.